Morning, everybody. Today we are going to talk about numerical expressions and factors. Okay, so what should I be able to do at the end of this lesson? I should be able to demonstrate that I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide whole numbers and find the perimeter and area of a rectangle. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make sure we understand all the terms. So the first term we need to know is sum. Okay, you probably already know this, but just in case, a sum is just the answer to an addition problem. Okay, and of course the symbol that we use is just the plus sign. Okay, so next up, what is difference? Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. And of course, there's our minus sign symbol. Okay, product. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Now, the symbols here, you can have several different symbols. You can have a little X, okay? You can have the dot. And sometimes you can just have things in parentheses. So you might see something like this. That means 3 times 6. Okay? All right. And then, of course, what's left is the quotient. Okay? So the quotient is just the answer to a division problem. And there's a couple different ways you can do this one too. You can see the division sign like this. You can see a slash like this. You can see things written as a fraction. So you can see like 3 over 4 like that. Really means 3 divided by 4. Okay? So make sure you know all those symbols. Now that may seem like stuff that you already know, but if you don't know those particular words, that can be a big problem. Okay, what's perimeter? Perimeter is when you have a two-dimensional object like a rectangle or a square or a parallelogram or something like that. The perimeter is just the sum of the sides of a two-dimensional shape. So you could have a pentagon. It would have 5 sides. You'd add up those 5 sides. That would be the perimeter. And finally, the area. And the area is the amount of stuff inside a figure. Okay, so if you have a two-dimensional figure, like let's say we have this quadrilateral right here, it's got 4 sides. The area is how much stuff you can fit inside there. Okay, so it's the measure of the space contained inside a two-dimensional shape. Okay, now here's the thing that you need to know. It's always measured in square units. It is always measured in square units. So like when we measure distance, like for perimeter, you measure just one-dimensional, you measure length, okay? But when you're doing two-dimensional things, you measure in squares. It's how many squares that are 1 by 1 you can fit inside that shape. Okay? All right, here's an example. So the bar graph shows the attendance at a 3-day art festival. What is the total attendance for the art festival? Okay, so we look here at the graph. The day 1 had 2,570 people. Day 2 had 3,145 people. And day 3 had 3,876 people. So what's the total attendance? We're going to find the sum. We're going to add those all up. Okay, so this would be 11, carry your 1. This would be 11, 18, 19, carry your 1. This would be 8, 9, 10, 15. Carry our 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the total attendance would be 9,591 people. You should always put your units, what you're measuring, on the end. Okay? So there we go. Now, what is the increase in attendance from day 1 to day 2? So the increase is going to be the difference between these two. It's going to be this space right here. Okay, so difference is a subtraction problem. So we're going to take 3,145 and we're going to subtract 2,570, and that will give us the increase. Okay, so that's going to be 5. I'm going to borrow, make that 14 minus 7 is 7. There's a 0. I'm going to borrow. That makes that a 2. Makes that a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Okay, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So it was an increase of 575 people. Okay, let's look at another example. A school lunch contains 12 chicken nuggets. 95 students buy that lunch. What is the total number of chicken nuggets that are served? Okay, you may be able to do this already. So if you can, pause the video right here and then jump back on and check your answer against what I've got. Okay, so here's the way we're going to do this. We're going to take, each lunch has 12 chicken nuggets, and there's 95 students. Okay, so each one of them gets 12, so that's going to be 5 times 2 is 10. And that's 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And then I put down a 0 and move over. There's 9 times 2 is 18, carry my 1. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So I add these up. 1,140 chicken nuggets. That is my answer. Okay, make sure you always show your work. Hopefully that's what you got. Okay, sums. Now, I always have my students, when they're adding, okay, that you always, you'll get a problem that'll be written like this a lot of times. But I don't like to try to add them that way. It makes people make a lot of mistakes, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do these vertically. So we're going to rewrite this as 4,637. And we're going to put the 2019 down here. And remember, we always line them up in the ones place here on the end. Okay, then we're going to add them up. 9 plus 7 is 16. Carry my 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 6 plus 2 is 8. And bring down my 4. And so there's my answer, 4,856. Put a box around your answer. Okay. Now you do this problem. So I'll give you a minute to pause the video, and then you do this problem and check your answer real quick. Okay, so we got 6,315, and we're going to add to that 487. So we write it vertically again. 7 and 5 is 12. Carry my 1. 8 plus 1 plus 1, that's 10. Put down a 0, carry my 1. 4 and 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8. And bring down my 6, and my answer is 6,802. Okay, so there you go. Moving right along. Differences. So we're subtracting now. Again, this is even more important than addition, that you line this thing up so that you get the correct answer. So we're going to take 591, and we're going to line up 137. So we'll put the 7 there, 3, 1. We're going to subtract that. Okay? People virtually always do better if you write it vertically. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to borrow for the 9 because I can't subtract 7 from 1. I get 11. Makes this an 8. So 11 minus 7 is 4. 8 minus 3 is 5. And 5 minus 1 is 4. And there's my answer, 454. Okay, now I want you to pause the video and do this one on your own. 716 minus 427. So go ahead and pause the video and then check back here when you're done. Okay, so again, we're going to write this vertically. 716 minus 427, making sure we line up on the ones digit. Okay, and let's see, I can't subtract 7 from 6, so I'm going to borrow and make that 16 minus 7 is 9. I can't subtract 2 from 0, so I'm going to borrow here again, make that 10. 10 minus 2 is 8, and 6 minus 4 is 2. So my answer is 289. Hopefully that's what you got. Okay, products. All right, just like addition and subtraction, you want to line them up vertically. Okay, so we're going to take 234. We're going to multiply that by 23. Okay, and the easiest way to do this is we're going to take our 3 and we're going to multiply by 4. That's going to be 12. Carry my 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Put down the 0, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now we're going to leave a space, or you can put a 0 if you like. Okay, and then 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. And now we're going to add that up. So I'm going to get 2 here. Always start on the right side. 8. 7 and 6 is 13. Carry my 1. And I get 5,382 for my answer. Put that over there. Okay, because now what I want you to do is I want you to do this problem. I want you to do 59 times 38 on your own, so pause the video here, do 59 times 38. Make sure you show all your work, and then check back here, and we'll go over the answer. Okay, so again, I'm going to write this vertically. 59 times 38. 8 times 9 is 72. Carry my 7. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 7 is 47. Either put a 0 or leave a space. 3 times 9 is 27. Okay, put down my 7, carry my 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. And then we're going to add these up. 2, 7 and 7 is 14, carry my 1. 7 and 4 is 11, plus 1 is 12, carry my 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer is 2,242. Okay, quotients. So division can be written 3 different ways. Actually, there's a 4th way. So you can see it like this with the division sign there, 128 divided by 4. You can read this as 128 divided by 4. And you can also see it as written like this, 128 divided by 4 like that. That means the same thing. Okay? And then you can do 128 divided by 4 here. Now, I always like to have it written like this because for me that's the easiest way to divide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 will go into 12. 4 will not go into 1, so I go to the next number. 4 will go into 12. It'll go in there 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract, and I get 0, and I drop down this number here, 8. Okay? And then 4 will go into 8 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract, and I get 0. Now, I really like it when it comes out to be 0 because that means it divides in there evenly. Okay? So I'm done. There's no decimal or fraction or anything like that. It's just the answer is 32. So the answer to all of these is 32, no matter how you slice it. Now, believe it or not, I've had high school kids before that did not know how to do long division. And long division comes in handy. You need to make sure that you learn how to do it. So now I want you to do this problem. 126 divided by 7. So I'll let you pause the video here. Set it up. I would prefer that you set it up like this because that's the easiest way for most people to do it. And then check back here in a minute when you're done and see what you got for the answer. Okay, so I'm going to take 126 and I'm going to divide that by 7. 7 will not go into 1, but 7 will go into 12. It'll go in 1 time. 1 times 7 is 7. I'm going to subtract that number. That gives me 5. I'm going to drop down my 6. 7 goes into 56 8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. So I subtract and I get 0, and that means, again, I have no remainder. So the answer is 18. Okay, what if there is a remainder? So if I have something like this, 117 divided by 10. Okay, so 10 will not go into 1, but 10 will go into 11 1 time. 1 times 10 is 10. Subtract, that leaves me with a 1. Drop down my 7. 10 goes into 17 once. 1 times 10 is 10. Subtract, I got 7. Now there's a couple things I can do here. I can write this as a fraction. So the answer is 11 with a little bit more, and that little bit more I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it over that, so my answer is going to be 11 and 7/10. Now, if I wanted a decimal, what I could do is I could put my decimal here at a 0. Okay, then a decimal goes right up here, and I could drop down my 0 right here, and I could go, oh, 10 goes into 70 7 times. 7 times 10 is 70. Subtract, and I get 0. So this one ended, it terminated. So either one of these two answers, 11.7 or 11 7/10, those are the same answer. Either one of those is fine. Unless the directions tell you specifically, if it says write it as a mixed number, you have to have this answer. If it says write it as a decimal, you have to have this answer. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here's your assignment. This is in your book. I'll put this in Google Classroom. So I want you to do all the problems on this page. There's 26 here, and I want you to do all the problems from 29 to 37. So you're not going to do these down here. You can skip those. Okay, so I will see you in class, and I look forward to talking to you later.